If you take Warren Buffett at his word, then you may want to consider raising some cash by selling some of your winning positions. And this is because one of his favorite stock market indicators is looking a bit lofty. It's called the Buffett Indicator. And one of the favorite Buffett Indicator variants takes the Wilshire 5000 index and divides it by the annual U.S. GDP. And right now, that measure is at a record high of about 194%. This compares with the measure of 159.2%, which came just before the dot-com bubble. This measure is causing many Wall Street pundits to hoist a red flag over the stock market and warn that we may be nearing the peak of the market. But are we? Well, let's take a look. The Buffett Indicator became prominent after a 2001 Fortune article by Buffett and longtime Fortune writer and Buffett insider Carol Loomis. In the article, Buffett stated that the ratio has certain limitations in telling you what you need to know. Still, it's probably the best single measure of where valuations stand at any given moment. And by this measure, we are at a historic moment. According to researchers at Guru Focus, at the current level, the Buffett Indicator implies a stock market return of negative 3% a year from this level, including dividends. So let's take a closer look. This is the chart that most investors are looking at, which is the Wilshire 5000 Full Cap Price Index divided by GDP. This particular chart is from Advisor Perspectives, and the source of the information is the St. Louis Federal Reserve. And as opposed to other variants, the Wilshire Index is a more intuitive broad metric of the market. And a few things to keep in mind that this information reflects the lag time in reporting from the Fed. Additionally, some measures use one time period for the GDP figures versus another time period for the stock level. And of course, that's a mistake, so just be consistent. But as you can clearly see, the recent measure is well above any other measure in the chart, including the measure from just before the dot-com bust. However, let me show you another chart of the same information that may not look as bad. But before we move to the next chart, just note the higher highs of the measure and also the higher lows. And so, in observing the general upward trends, such as the higher highs and the higher lows, another way to look at the information is by drawing a regression line through the data. And if you don't understand what a regression line is, don't worry, but simply put, a regression, it's a statistical modeling and estimates the relationship between two variables. In this case, the variables are the S&P 500 and GDP over time. So this is what it looks like when a regression line is drawn and then detrended or flattened, and the data takes on a different look. So by this chart, we're not at the highest level, but we are close enough that we should all take caution. But when the pundits raise the red flag, it may be a warning for the stock market. But for me, it's also a warning to watch out for the pundits. And so for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.